is a very hot August day, and I am in the 2022 Chevrolet Bolt EUV. We'll talk about why I think that's a silly name, how this car compares to the Nissan Leaf, and how it compares to the Tesla. So normally I'd say let's start it up and go for a drive, but it's on. It's happening right now. All I do is press D, the doors lock, and that's it. I guess it's a good thing, but it seems like every time I drive an electric car, it just becomes a little more normal. First time I drove an electric car was back in 2014, and it was a big shock. It was a weird thing to see an electric car driving around. Remember, that was early Tesla Model S days. But now, it feels normal to me. I'm just getting used to it. I don't own an electric car. But anyways, the Chevrolet Bolt EUV hopes to capitalize on CUV interest of buyers to bring more would-be CUV buyers into the EV world. Now, to that aim, they have made a Bolt, which is all new for 2022, and they have extended it. It shouldn't be the Bolt electronic utility vehicle, it should be called the Bolt long wheelbase. The wheelbase of the Bolt EUV has been stretched by 2.9 inches versus the Bolt, and it's 6.3 inches longer overall. It has longer overhangs front and rear, which does go a long way to making the Bolt look less like a science project. It's still a car I would not hesitate to call ugly, but it's certainly not as bizarro as the regular Chevy Bolt. Now, for that extra length, the rear passengers get 3 inches more legroom. The front passengers, all the same, and you get more cargo space. So, a pretty handy trade, and that costs you exactly $2,000 more. The Bolt in Canada starts at $38,198. The premium trim that you see here starts at $43,698. The premium gets you adaptive cruise, super cruise, ventilated seats, 360-degree camera, and unlike the Nissan Leaf and unlike the Tesla Model 3, no matter which model you pick, it all has the same drivetrain. The motor, the power, the range is all the same. So no matter which trim you pick, you are getting that 200 horsepower and 266 pound-feet of torque. And because it's electric, it does all those figures at whichever engine RPM you desire. Chevrolet quotes an annoying 0 to 96 km/h time of 7.0 seconds, so I would tack on a tenth or two for a presumed 0 to 100 km/h time. Let's just say it's in the low sevens. Now the range is listed at 397 kilometers, at 248 miles for those of you south of the 49th parallel. I'm at 265 kilometers on a half tank of electricity. So if you make those numbers go forward, you'll see that I have over 500 kilometers of range per charge on this Chevrolet Bolt EUV. The claim numbers, for whatever reason, have been ridiculously easy for me to beat, even in the summer when I've been running the air conditioning non-stop. I'm sure it would suffer in the winter running a heater, but it's pretty easy to beat the factory numbers. And that 400 kilometer range, 397 we'll just round up, is what makes the Bolt EUV so usable. I picked this car up on Monday, I have driven it to work, I have driven it to all kinds of things, I have given my girlfriend rides to places, and I haven't charged yet. I've done 266 kilometers of driving, which I think is what average people do in a week. It just makes so much sense for most people, I think, and the added wheelbase and the added cargo space is so good. It's really was needed on the previous Bolt, and it just makes this so much more usable, and I don't see the trade-off, really. Also, there's clever storage all throughout the Bolt. It's not just an electric car, it was designed to be an electric car, so it has all these things that you only get with an electric, like a completely flat floor. There's no step-in over a raised rocker panel. There's no transmission tunnel, of course. There's no exhaust pipe channel that has to run through the car. Flat floor. And you also get all this clever storage space. Underneath the center console, there's a spot for bags, water bottles even, and underneath the cargo floor in the back, you can flip it up and there is like a well, it's a deep trunk under there. Worth noting that unlike a Tesla, it does not have a front trunk. If you open the hood, it looks like an engine, but it's not. It's electric motors and all the parts that make it work. It is kind of interesting to be able to see that. Some electric cars keep that stuff hidden away, but there is no storage space up front. So if you can't fit it in the back, it's going in the passenger compartment. And the passenger compartment is pretty roomy. The rear seat, I can tell, has been specifically made to get tall people back there, and they have mostly succeeded. I am a towering 5'9". I fit quite easily. There's lots of leg room in the back, but headroom isn't as generous in the back. However, in the front, I have all kinds of room, even with this panoramic sunroof, which is an option on the Premier. What is it like to drive? Well, I'll start by saying that most people that think an electric car is terrible and boring to drive haven't driven one, so stop listening to them on Twitter. It's fun, and it's a different kind of fun. And what I mean by that is that driving this Bolt is kind of like playing Mario Kart. There are power-ups, like I pull this little regen paddle, you see I slow down. I'm not touching the brakes with my foot at all. And you're always trying to find efficiency. You're trying to recharge down hills. You're trying to accelerate smoothly. It's like playing a video game, and it makes all these little spaceship noises. And it's a different kind of fun. It's not a white knuckle thrill ride like some cars are, but I don't think that's why you would buy a Chevy Bolt. Now, you can also use the brake, and it will automatically regen until you go past what regen can stop you, and then it will apply the physical brakes to the car, so you will stop like anything else. There's also a button that you can select down here which gives you one pedal driving, which basically means that your foot would never leave the gas pedal. If you take it off fully from the gas, it's gonna really put on the brakes and slow you down. You only drive by modulating the gas pedal, as it were. I tried it out. It's an interesting exercise. I find it not very natural. Like when I have to park and reverse, my foot isn't on the accelerator pedal. It's usually on the brake. I don't want to fly through something. So I found that to be a little unnerving. Also, I don't like the fact that every time I went to adjust my foot and take it off the pedal, it would slam on the brakes. So the one pedal thing, I mean, I guess it works. It's an interesting little thing. I don't see many people being converted to one pedal driving, although it is possible in the Chevy Bolt EUV. Other smart things are in here because it's an electric vehicle, and that is very careful and clear control of climate control, because climate control impacts your range. So to that end, the Premier model only has ventilated seats, which I think should be on all trims, because sometimes you can get away with just running the ventilated seat and not need air conditioning. You know, you're trying to get the maximum efficiency and go as far as you can. Now, it's worth knowing that even on the hottest day that I drove the Chevy Bolt, some 30-degree day with horrible humidity, that running the air conditioning as much as it would go dropped my range about 10%. So at least in terms of heat, that's your worst case scenario. You're gonna take an easy 10% off the top of the range. I found on more mild days when I'm running the climate control off and on, the range will be affected by about 5 to 7%. So just so you know, that's what I found with the Bolt running the air conditioning. And I have it on right now because it's hot out. But let's talk about how it compares to the two other electric cars that I think people are gonna compare it to. First of all, the Nissan Leaf. Now, the Leaf does not get a great start up against the Bolt because it costs more money. And not only that, the one that costs more money than the Bolt is the one with a smaller battery. It's like a super budget model of the Leaf. Again, like the Tesla, to get under that minimum amount needed to qualify for tax credits wherever you may be. The Nissan Leaf starts at $44,298, which is $6,100 more than the Bolt and $4,100 more than the Bolt EUV, and that's a penalty model with a small motor. The Nissan Leaf you want starts at $46,898, which is a staggering $8,700 more than the Bolt and $6,700 more than the Bolt EUV, all of which come with the same motor. In comparison, the Leaf has 363 kilometers of range versus the Bolt EUV's 397. This really kind of trounces the Leaf in every department. Chevy has done a very good job, and it's certainly what I would prefer over the two vehicles. And I can hear you now asking, but what about Tesla? Well, there is technically a cheater model Tesla 3 with a wimpy 151 kilometer of range that starts at $46,398, but no one is actually going to buy that car. They made it to kind of cheat their way under the $45,000 mark and get tax credit in Canada, etc. The real Tesla Model 3 that you would actually want to buy with your own money starts at $52,000 and change. And it's worth knowing that it's a lot faster than the Bolt, and it has a bigger range, 0 to 60 in 5.6 seconds and a 423 kilometer range versus 397. Honestly, it is a different class of electric vehicle. It is one rung up from the Bolt in terms of performance, but also in price. Is it a $10,000 better car than the Bolt? Arguably, yes, I could actually see it. But not all of us have an extra $10,000 to spend on a car, and I promise you, the Bolt EUV is going to be more than enough for your daily driving needs. In summary, the Bolt EUV is a remarkably good car. It's not a good electric car, it's a good car. it's easy to see out of, it's easy to drive, it's quiet on the highway, it has plenty of pickup, it has plenty of storage space, and you could tell that it was engineered with real thought. It's not just there to fill a market space that the company needs, oh, we need an electric vehicle. Real people actually put their effort into making this, which is more than you could say about some other electric cars. But that said, the Bolt represents the old world of electric cars, because when the Bolt and the Leaf were being developed, the idea was, how do we take an economy car and make it electric? Try to keep it affordable, keep it cheap, keep it small, right? It was not a premium offering. The world changed when Tesla showed us that electric cars worked better as a premium offering. Stop trying to make it affordable and cheap and lean into what electric cars are good at. You can make them sexy, you can make them good looking, you can make them fast, you can make them the cars people want with their heart. Not a car like the Bolt that people want with their mind. Because at $40,000 and change, this isn't really a cheap car. You can buy a Chevy Trax loaded up for like almost $10,000 less than this with comparable interior space. And even though this Bolt EUV is by far the best Bolt yet, I really have to wonder if there's a third generation left in it. Building electric cars like this, I just don't see it growing. The market is shifting towards more expensive cars that are faster and do more. That said, I'm rooting for the little Bolt. It's an honest car, does exactly what it says in the box, and it surprised me with its ease of use, its range, and how much I genuinely liked driving it. For Driving.ca, I'm Clayton Seams, and for more electric car reviews and information, don't forget to check us out online on Driving.ca, on Instagram and Twitter.